Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos and welcome to This Week in Mythic Plus. This week's affixes are Tyrannical, Bursting, Grievous, and of course, Thundering. It is a rather nasty week to be a healer, especially in a pug setting. You are looking at two affixes that both require you to do most of the work. You've got Tyrannical Grievous as well, which is kind of the hardest mode that a lot of these bosses have, especially if you're looking at bosses like Talixay Flame Wreath that just rot you down. They will rot you down much harder with Grievous going on. That being said, this is a good week for teams and groups that are a little bit coordinated, especially ones that include Master Spell for bursting. Master Spell making bursting a lot easier. People that will be able to stop damage and not give you 4 million bursting stacks. And also off-healing cooldowns, so that's Nature's Vigil, Vampiric Embrace, Ancestral Guidance, those sorts of effects from your DPS players can be really big against Grievous, can also be big against Bursting, and notably there is a spec that does all of those things. That's Shadow Priest. This is a really, really good Shadow Priest week if you've got one of those. If you don't, you can still handle these affixes. It's just, even if you don't have any of those, Master Spell or off-healing cooldowns, what you need to do is carefully manage your bursting stacks. Players need to look at their own health on bosses and use health potions, use healing, use defensives effectively, even more so this week than a usual week, where it was already kind of true this season that a lot of the bosses are kind of deadly for DPS players. So yeah, it's a nasty week for pugging, for pug healers, for pugging with bad healers. Any of those cases, there's a lot of misery that you're going to run into. You're gonna just you're gonna know that you're gonna die like 5 seconds before you do, and just nothing you can do is gonna stop it in some situations. So that is something you really wanna try and avoid. But not much that can be done about it. In specific dungeons, so the thing to remember, there's a lot of mobs that do not trigger bursting that are safer than you might think, such as Scorchlings, such as Infused Whelps in Ruby Life Pools. In Nocked, there's actually not very many of them. Pretty much everything in this dungeon does trigger on-death affixes. But yeah, there's some dungeons that are full of mobs that don't trigger these. Azure Vault's another one where they pretty much all do. Algathar, the little hungry lashers don't. Basically everything else in here does. I think including the little birds as well, the territorial eagles, so watch out for that. Halls of Valor, basically everything does. Court of Stars, basically everything does. I think the imps don't. The worms don't as well, so that's some nice little saving grace there. Shadow and Burial Grounds, the skitterlings don't. Basically everything else does. Temple of the Jade Serpent, I think the Lesser Shah don't, which is really good. Those things triggered Raging, but they do not trigger on-death affixes, so that's a little bit nice there. I think the droplets also don't, so yeah, that's the a quick overview of which mobs trigger bursting and which mobs don't this week. Yeah, I don't know, good luck out there. It is a push week for coordinated teams, I suspect, but it is not a great week for the masses, and it is another week that's putting a lot of the burden on the healers, which is sort of a characteristic of this season. I guess one of the nice things about this week is that none of the affixes really interact with Thundering, especially. Bursting and Grievous, it's not like Storming or Quaking, these affixes where Thundering will, have a negative interaction in some way with them, where it makes it harder to clear, makes it so you have to clear earlier. So that's, I guess, one nice thing about this week, but yeah, it's a tough one out there. Good luck in your keys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.